What if healing after 60 wasn't about more pills or harder workouts, but what you eat before 9 a.m.? Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara lived to 105, still practicing medicine at age 100. His secret? 5 healing foods, quietly consumed each morning. They're not exotic, they're not expensive, but they turn on the body's hidden healing systems. And in today's video, I'll walk you through each one so you can begin tomorrow morning. After 60, healing slows. Wounds linger, energy drops, sleep thins. But aging alone isn't the reason. It's that your internal systems, autophagy, circulation, metabolism, start running slower, unless you give them the right fuel. That's why I, Dr. Hinohara, followed a quiet ritual every morning, one I shared with thousands of patients in Japan. Simple, joyful, and science-backed. Today, I'll pass that ritual to you. 1. Natto, your cellular cleanup crew. Do you ever feel like your body holds on to fatigue, even after a full night's rest? That's not just tiredness. It may be your cells struggling to clean themselves. You see, after 60, one of the body's most important healing systems, autophagy, slows down. Autophagy is your internal cleanup crew. It clears out old, damaged parts of your cells so new ones can take their place. But with age, that crew gets sleepy. It's like a janitor showing up late to a flooded hallway. By the time help arrives, the damage has spread. Now, here's the beautiful part. There's a natural compound that wakes this crew back up. It's called spermidine, and it's found in a humble Japanese food called natto. Natto is made from fermented soybeans. Sticky, pungent, and incredibly powerful. A 2018 study in Nature Communications followed over 800 adults. It found that higher spermidine intake led to a 40% drop in cardiovascular mortality and extended lifespan by up to 7 years. Other research in 2020 showed 45% higher autophagy activity in those who added fermented foods like natto to their diet for just a few weeks. I first discovered natto as a young physician in Tokyo, but it wasn't until my 80s that I made it part of my morning ritual. 1 spoonful over warm rice, slowly chewed. It gave me a calm energy, not like caffeine, but like something deep inside me had cleared. Rosa, a 67-year-old patient of mine, tried the same. At first, she wrinkled her nose. "This smells like old socks," she laughed. But 3 weeks later, her blood pressure improved. Her digestion lightened. Her skin looked brighter. Here's how to begin. Start with 1 to 2 tablespoons of natto at breakfast. Mix it into warm rice, or eat it alone with a drizzle of low-sodium soy sauce. Give it 3 to 4 weeks. And notice, how does your body feel after that first bowl? 2. Green tea, the body's energy switch. Now that your body's cleanup crew is awake, it needs direction. That's where energy regulation comes in. After 60, your cells often forget how to use energy properly. You might feel wired at night, but sluggish by noon. Or you crash mid-afternoon, even if you slept well. One of the reasons? A critical enzyme system called AMPK. Your body's metabolic switchboard starts to falter. AMPK tells your cells when to burn fuel and when to rest. But like any old switchboard, it needs maintenance. That's where green tea comes in. Specifically, the antioxidant EGCG found in high-quality green tea helps flip this energy switch back on. EGCG acts like a wise conductor, quietly guiding your body's rhythms back into balance. In 2021, a study in Nutrients Journal followed over 5,600 Japanese seniors. Those who drank 3 or more cups of green tea daily had a 30% lower risk of frailty, better cognitive scores, and improved mobility. An earlier study from 2012 tracked nearly 14,000 elderly adults, finding that green tea drinkers had a 25% lower risk of functional disability, meaning they stayed independent longer. This isn't just about caffeine. In fact, matcha and sencha green teas are surprisingly gentle, especially when brewed properly. I began each morning with tea for over 40 years, not because it gave me a jolt, but because it gave me clarity. Henry, 71, a retired bus driver I worked with, had a lifelong coffee habit. He'd crash hard by 2 p.m., So we made a small swap, matcha in the morning, sencha between lunch and dinner. 3 weeks later, he told me, I don't need my nap anymore, I just stay steady. Here's how to begin. Brew green tea for 2 to 3 minutes in water that's 70 to 80 degrees Celsius, not boiling. Drink 3 to 5 cups daily, ideally between meals, and avoid pairing with iron-rich foods like red meat. Let me ask you something gently. Do you already drink green tea, or will this be your first cup with purpose? Leave a comment. I read everyone. Next, what if I told you there's a type of root vegetable that shields your cells like sunglasses? 3. Purple sweet potatoes, your internal sunglasses. Let's talk about something surprising. Carbohydrates. Most people over 60 are told to avoid them. Too much sugar, they say. Spikes your insulin. Bad for your weight. But here's the AHA moment. Not all carbs harm you. Some may actually heal you, especially the kind found in the purple sweet potatoes. These aren't just pretty on the outside. They're powerful on the inside. Rich in anthocyanins and beta-carotene, these natural pigments act like internal sunglasses, filtering out the harmful light of inflammation and oxidative stress. Imagine your cells constantly squinting against a blinding glare. That glare is inflammation. And purple sweet potato, it dims the light, lets your cells finally relax. A 2017 study in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry found that regular consumption of anthocyanin-rich foods significantly reduced markers of oxidative damage and stabilized blood sugar in older adults. That's key because after 60, many people experience silent insulin resistance. The body's sugar key gets rusty. But anthocyanins help polish the key, make it turn more smoothly again. Lena, 69, had struggled with blood sugar spikes and fatigue for years. Her doctor warned her to avoid carbs, but she felt deprived and sluggish. Then, with guidance, she began adding 1/2 cup of Okinawan purple sweet potato to her dinners. Within 2 weeks, she felt more balanced, no more mid-morning crashes. Even her mood stabilized. This wasn't a carb to avoid. It was a root that restored. Here's how to begin. Find Japanese or Okinawan purple sweet potatoes, not yams. Steam or roast 1/2 cup and pair it with lunch or dinner, 2 to 4 times per week. It's gentle, grounding, and nourishing for your aging metabolism. And if you've ever feared carbs, could this be the one exception your body actually welcomes? Next, let's explore a food that doesn't just feed your body, it talks to your brain. 4. Fermented foods, gut-brain harmony builders. If you've ever woken up at 3 a.m., tired but wired, your body wasn't just restless, it was out of rhythm. After 60, your gut, often called your second brain, loses some of its ability to communicate clearly with the rest of your body. That's not just about digestion, it's about sleep, stress, mood, even blood pressure. The good news? You can gently restore this connection, starting with fermented foods. Think miso soup, pickled daikon, tempeh, or traditional Japanese tsukemono. What makes these powerful? They're rich in probiotics and a calming neurotransmitter called GABA. GABA works like a soothing voice in your nervous system. It tells the stress hormone cortisol to quiet down, and it helps your brain produce melatonin, the sleep hormone. But here's the catch. GABA from pills often struggles to cross the blood-brain barrier. From fermented foods, though, it's delivered through the gut-brain highway, right where it's needed most. A 2019 study in Frontiers in Neuroscience showed that daily intake of fermented foods improves sleep quality and reduced cortisol levels in older adults within just 2 weeks. Martha, 73, had tried everything for her sleep: white noise machines, melatonin tablets, sleep hygiene routines. Nothing worked until she added a spoonful of pickled daikon to her lunch and dinner. It's like someone turned the volume down in my body, she said. For the first time in months, I slept through the night. Want to try? Start with 1 to 2 servings per day of fermented vegetables or miso. Keep sodium low. Try it with your lunch or a light evening soup. You may notice calmer digestion and a gentler descent into sleep. And if your body's been talking in static lately, What might happen if your gut and brain started speaking the same language again? Next, let's look at a food that fuels the most misunderstood gland in your body and keeps your whole system humming. 5. Seaweed, fuel for your metabolic engine. Do you ever feel cold, even when the room is warm? Or notice your metabolism slowing, despite eating less? You may be experiencing a quiet thyroid slowdown, and you wouldn't be alone. After 60, the thyroid gland, that small butterfly-shaped organ in your neck, often begins to underperform. It controls temperature, metabolism, even mental sharpness. Think of it as the engine oil for your entire system. When it runs low, everything gets sluggish. Now, here's the healing food most people forget: seaweed, wakame, kombu, nori. These sea vegetables are packed with iodine and tyrosine, two nutrients your thyroid must have to produce energy-regulating hormones. Without enough iodine, it's like trying to cook with no heat. The recipe is there, but nothing activates. A 2016 study in thyroid research found that iodine-rich diets in aging adults significantly supported T3 and T4 hormone production, improved body temperature regulation, and enhanced mental clarity. For decades, I began each week with a simple bowl of miso soup, topped with floating ribbons of wakame, not for flavor, but for function. Ken, 75, was one of my more reserved patients. He rarely complained until winter. Always bundled, always tired. We added just 2 seaweed meals per week. By the 4th week, he said, "Doctor, I've stopped wearing my coat indoors. I feel awake again." Here's how to begin. Add nori sheets to rice dishes. Stir wakame into soup, or simmer kombu in broth. Start with 2 to 3 servings per week. Avoid overdoing it. Just a few grams is enough. And if you felt foggy, slow, or chilled lately, now that we've fueled the engine, what happens if we slow down and listen to it? What if healing wasn't something you chased, but something you quietly nourished? One small choice at a time? That's what I learned in over a century of life. Healing doesn't always come in a bottle. Sometimes it comes in a bowl of warm miso soup, a slow sip of tea, a pause between bites. These 5 foods aren't magic. They're medicine woven into routine. And with time, they wake up what age tries to dim: your energy, your clarity, your capacity to heal. So, now I ask you gently, which of these 5 habits speaks to you first? Type it below. Your small beginning may inspire someone else watching. And if you'd like more guidance on aging with strength, calm, and clarity, subscribe and join this growing circle of mindful agers. We walk slowly here, but we walk together.